You know, an episode that I thought was going to be stupid as heck or inappropriate actually is pretty dang awesome. I just wish the kids were in there more than just to stand in the background and look confused.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant.
After multiple iffy or okay episodes, we finally get a good episode of Season 8, Grannies Gone Wild. Holy shoot, does this episode title make me think that we're not only in for a wild ride, but what the frick, Hasbro? Why are you including this kind of dirty humor in your titles? But in all seriousness, I'm very happy to see how this episode turned out, and I actually don't have too many grievances with it. It's actually more what the fans have been thinking that's been getting me a little bit uneasy, but we'll get to that soon. Welcome to Theories of the Thought, and let's get right into the Grannies Gone Wild review. The episode starts off with Rainbow Dash learning about a Wonderbolt initiation test made by the other Wonderbolts where they go on the Wild Blue Yonder. Apparently, it's a roller coaster of incredible speed and stunts. Though, looking at the pictures on the wall, it makes me wonder how these two are still Wonderbolts and got sick on the roller coaster. Is it something like being in a car or a boat and you just get scared because you have no control? Or is it the actual speed? There's no context to this, so I'm going to guess that because they're okay spinning around like crazy in the air, it's just a control thing. I'm also wondering how the frick did these two actually play chess on a roller coaster? Of course, the talk about speed gets Rainbow Dash excited as can be, and she goes around to all of her friends and students telling them about this new roller coaster. Again, we are so close to having the kids in here. Hasbro, why won't you let them talk? I'd have so much more fun if the kids could talk. But I guess that's gonna have to be for another episode, because we move on to AJ hearing that Rainbow Dash wants to swap classes for her so she can ride the roller coaster before it goes out of business. I actually talked to Churgo about this before, and he came up with a pretty good idea that possibly Flim and Flam are just gonna rename the roller coaster. I mean, if it's getting in a lot of business, I think that's probably what they're going to do, but if they really do remove the roller coaster, oh well, both of these make sense for fun little quirks about either the world of MLP or the actual thoughts of the Flim Flam brothers. And also, give Churgo a shout out for coming up with this terrific idea. Now, AJ does indeed give Rainbow the opportunity to go and see the roller coaster, but AJ wants something for taking over her classes and allowing RD to go. That being, Rainbow has to take care of the Golden Horseshoe Gals. Okay, call me weird, but wouldn't RD be able to just go after the classes? I mean, she can Sonic Rainbow, a feat that's been known to be incredibly fast. And we can see in the next few scenes that the Wonderbolts don't seem to mind that RD is leaving for a bit to go to the roller coaster. And if you think about it, if she's the fastest Pegasus around, RD could just do her class, she could go for a roller coaster ride and then just book it the next morning back. Why exactly can she not go after her classes? Plus, on top of that, Rainbow has said that the roller coaster ends this week. We're never told if this is the beginning of the week, the end of the week, so it could be Monday, and she has tons of days left to go and have fun at the roller coaster. So again, why does it need to be now? I'm going to, for the sake of the episode, assume that it closes down in 1 or 2 days, but seriously, Hasbro, this could have easily been fixed. Also, on a point about the Golden Horseshoe Gals, sorry everybody, but I never actually watched Golden Girls and don't know too much about it. I'm guessing from the little research I did do on it, it's the idea that there are elderly women in their golden years of life having excitement before their, life comes to an end. Which, to be honest, if I had to teach kids or listen to the elderly while taking care of them, honestly, I'd take RD's choice. There is a lot we can learn from the elderly, and they've got some of the best stories around. Though I could understand that with Rainbow's always wanting to be fast and going everywhere attitude, she could see this as annoying or a problem, so I'll give her that. Though perhaps I should send in an application for the Golden Horseshoe Gals. I am 300 after all. I could get in for just my age alone. But as we see that Granny, Goldie Delicious, Auntie Applesauce, and Apple Rose all are loading up into an air balloon, the only thought comes into my head is, why are you taking an air balloon? You have a Pegasus that's going with you. At the very least, why doesn't Rainbow just strap herself up to the balloon and carry it? Or why doesn't they call for a chariot? Twilight probably could pull some strings and get them a fancy looking chariot, so why are you going in a hot air balloon? Wouldn't it make a little bit more sense to have Pegasi to fly you over there? Now, before Rainbow and the girls get on their big adventure, AJ gives them a list. And I understand a lot of people seem to be getting mad at this, but if you break down what AJ's saying and really put it into thought about elderly people, it's actually not that uncommon that these rules apply. This actually sounds like legitimate things you have to consider with people who have bone and muscle deterioration. The only problem is it's not explained well enough for someone who has never taken care of the elderly before. The taking lots of naps point actually applies, but you don't force them to go take a nap. You ask if they're okay and make sure you can bring them to a place where they can rest if they need it, and find means of going up and getting them to sleep if they really do need it. The eating soft food parts is actually again legitimate. Sometimes elderly people will have trouble chewing their food, swallowing their food, and have trouble trying to get it out of their mouths if they're choking. So it does make sense that softer foods that can go down the throat easier is needed. The only problem is, again, soft foods to some may think like soup, mush, slop. It's actually not that. The foods they can eat can actually be anything from pies, ice cream, mashed potatoes, tenderized equivalents to steaks and whatever that is in the pony culture, salads with easier to chew vegetables like tomatoes, peppers, lettuce, spinach. Heck, even soft-shell tacos are good. Like as I said, the food doesn't need to be slop, and it can be really good. It just needs to be food that can go down the throat and be chewed easier than hard chips. The careful when dancing part is again also because bone issues can come into effect. If one of them gets too excited and falls and trips, guess what? That could land them in the ER, and it could land them with bones breaking, hips breaking, and months of therapy. But again, you don't need to tell them not to dance, you just need to monitor them and be careful, making sure that they're taking it easy while dancing. If it's a dance move they're used to, let them do it, but always be ready and be careful. Trust me, the elderly don't need to be babied like some kind of little child. Most of them by that age know their limits, and it's just a matter of asking if they're okay every now and then, as well as watching for signs they might not be faring so well. Are they breathing okay? Are they having any pain? Maybe are they having trouble eating their food? This applies into the don't get too excited part. Now, when someone gets excited, it can usually mean that their heart's racing or something else, which could cause heart problems for those who are elderly. Again, you don't need to baby them and put them in a corner and tell them you can't do anything, but simply just asking them every now and then if they're okay will do fine. And yes, even the last point, don't let them out of your sight, also applies here. If they have medical problems that are causing them to almost keel over and die, that's going to be on RD's head. If Auntie Applesauce suddenly trips and falls and breaks her leg, guess what? RD is to blame. If Apple Rose needed medication at certain times of the day and had trouble opening the bottle, and RD was going off to the roller coaster, guess what? Little old RD would be in trouble. The point is, these are all very reasonable demands. I think maybe where this stemmed from is AJ has to take care of Granny every single day. She probably sees a lot of this and tries to help out Granny as best she can. And she knows that RD has never taken care of any elderly person probably in her life. So AJ might be just worried that RD might be irresponsible and Granny could get hurt, or these are things she has to deal with on a daily basis and she wants to make sure Rainbow Dash is prepared. Either way, I don't blame AJ for this at all, and in fact, I think she was being pretty lenient. The only thing I will scold her for is she did not explain this well enough to someone who has never taken care of the elderly before, and that honestly isn't a bad thing at all. Getting back to the episode, however, the balloon goes off, the cats are thrown in, and everything's good. Even Apple Rose starts to tell a story about how she climbed a tree? Okay, I want to learn that story. Can we hear that story? I mean, ponies have hooves. How could they even get up a tree? I know we're not going to hear the whole story. It's a comedic thing of, tell the long story and then the montage of the trip. I get it. But dang, I wish we could have heard that story. But in time, the girls get to their destination and the shenanigans begin. Again, I will say as a little mention that you could have just taken a chariot, girls, if you wanted to go faster. Or RD, you could have pulled them. But what I'm more interested in is how did Rivet become an alicorn? Like, I understand it's probably an animation error and Rivet isn't going to be an alicorn, but that's a pretty hard animation error to miss. It's right up in the open. It's in your face. It's not even slightly trying to be hidden in the background. How did they miss this? Is this maybe hinting at that there's another princess coming to either do good or bad? I'm gonna leave it for now, but dang, would that be interesting. But enough possible alicorns coming into the mix. The girls want to go have fun. Granny wants to go walk around, Goldie wants to go play horseshoes, Apple Rose wants to go to the fountain, and Apple Sauce wants to go to the spa. Rainbow seems to think that this is impossible and tells them they should all go to the hotel, but Rainbow, are you seeing the same situation I'm seeing? Because this is really an easy solution. As some of you may have already figured out, Las Pegasus is a reference to Las Vegas. And here's the one thing about Las Vegas that's very important to know about almost any casino. Casinos like to make their visitors happy, and one thing they're very good at is accommodations. If an elderly person comes in, they are more likely to spend time to ensure that person is okay. Staff mates checking on them more often, food being brought to them first, making sure that they're happy, comfortable, spending money. And as a little heads up in the episode, we also find out that the Golden Horseshoe Girls are very important members of the casinos. So why exactly did none of the staff mates offer to watch some of the girls? Heck, if anything, the other workers could try and get them to spend more money. And if they go a lot, it's obvious they know where they're going. I understand Rainbow got a little freaked out and a little too worried, but seriously, this could have been an easy fix. And even without the staff mates, here's how she could have ordered it. Goldie Delicious could easily go play horseshoes, if it's like slots, and probably wait there a while. Applesauce wanted to go to the spa. In there, she could also wait there a while to get a full pampered spa treatment. Those have staff workers at them. All Rainbow would have to tell them is, hey, could you please make sure that you watch them for a bit while I take these two on a walk? The staff mates would be more than happy to do this. RD could get Granny and Apple Rose to see the fountain and the sights, which could lump in together, and then they could either all go to the hotel to rest up, get food, and Rainbow could go to the roller coaster. All of these problems are solved, and Rainbow could go on the ride. Again, very, very easy solution, but doesn't seem like many actually took time to think it through. But looking at the design and interior of the hotel, it seems that Flim Flam have indeed renovated the place to make them the head honchos. While I will admit that the roller coaster looks fantastic and would be something a thrill seeker would want, it's not my bowl of tea. Just a little bit too excitable for me, honestly. Again, Goldie says how she really wants to go play horseshoes, and for some reason Rainbow thinks that that's some too excitable event. Rainbow, it's horseshoes. That's like bowling. How is that too excitable? The girls go up and Aunt Applesauce starts flirting with the bellboy. Well, I guess if he's okay with it, or he would want to be, that would be fine, but the look of uncomfortable on his face just really doesn't make me want to root for that couple. As well, could we just say that when they're brought up to their rooms, it's identified as the Golden Horseshoe Suite. I would think by this point, Rainbow would have started to pick up that they might be very important ponies at the casino, but for some reason this never comes up. Once they're in the suite and the girls really want to go out and have fun, Rainbow tries again to get them to go and sleep, and the girls play along with this, pulling a prank on RD so she'll leave them alone. RD starts to leave, having been stopped by Gummy Cat, or what I like to think of, the stereotypical every cat is judging you. The cat doesn't stop her for long, however, as Rainbow heads down to see the roller coaster, and we see the lineup is very long, including some PG-13 character references. Rainbow, realizing that she'd probably be waiting there too long, leaves the line and heads upstairs, finding that the Grannies are missing! Good job at being a caregiver, Rainbow. Good job. Rainbow goes looking for them frantically throughout the hotel, where we get to see some great background pony cameos, a DDR system, a photobomb, and much more before Rainbow finally finds them. Also, could someone tell me why there appears to be a duck hunting game with ponies? Have I been getting this wrong and you ponies actually like to hunt animals? I mean, if that's the case, if you guys let me eat the food, I'll go hunting with you. Back with Rainbow, she starts freaking out again when she thinks Goldie is going to get too excited. I will say the problem is, I guess Rainbow's trying to compare them to the CMC or young foals. I guess that makes sense, as a lot of people consider elderly people to be as frail and unable to take care of themselves as babies or young children. But the problem is that when elderly individuals show the mental capacity to understand what they're doing, take care of themselves, and pull a prank on Rainbow, it's time to ease up. Jumping to the buffet, where we see Granny about to chow down on nachos, which I admit, even I would be having a bit of a scare. Look, again, it's not the fact that Granny wants to try spicy foods. Spicy foods are okay. The problem is that the chips are very crunchy, and Rainbow's got the right idea. This stuff can actually cause Granny to choke. We know she's a strong earth pony, but even a strong earth pony can't stop the effect of aging. Though I don't get why Rainbow has problems with the other foods. They all look fine. Pastries, cheeses, soft fruits, that's all soft food. How exactly do you think this is gonna choke them? It's just gonna make them mad, and it does. The Grannies start to get very annoyed. The Golden Gals still want to have fun and decide to go dancing. Rainbow thinks that maybe they've tuckered themselves out, but the Golden Horseshoe Gals explain that every year they do this, and they save up all their energy for it, which actually makes sense. Sometimes when you live a sedentary life and you have to live it with idea of you're frail, you're weak, being allowed to go have fun in an exciting place where there are no limits and you can do what you want is something that would boost up confidence and happiness. So yeah, RD really should have at this point stopped bothering them. But this is an MLP episode and that stuff doesn't go through their heads. Again, Rainbow gets very nervous about the girls breaking something while dancing, which ironically, Rainbow's reactions are kind of reminding me of like when someone has never held a baby before. A baby is going to be fine no matter how you hold it, so long as you're not holding it upside down, shaking it, or throwing it on the ground. A baby is very delicate, but not as delicate as China. When people have never held babies before hold them, you can oftentimes see them being very stiff, being unable to relax, and sometimes even freezing up or shaking. It's more a nerves thing, and I can understand the Rainbow, having never taken care of elderly people before, is probably very nervous about this. However, the fandom goes from thinking it's a ho-hum episode to a great episode when we see Trixie's dad jackpot. Holy shoot, that stallion is in very, very, very good health. And the similarities are striking. The same mane, the same personality, everything looks terrific. The only difference is I think Jackpot's got a little bit more charisma and kindness to him than Trixie ever has. The girls get chosen for a very special magic show event, much to the grumble of RD, and being special guests in a trick that comes up. Jackpot and his partner seem to be doing what I could think of is a Houdini trick, and I did actually try looking this up. There are two tricks that Houdini tried to do that seems very similar to what's going on. The underwater box trick and the Chinese water torture cell trick. Both of whom had Harry Houdini going into a box of water, whether it was being thrown into water and filling up, or he was lowered into a box of water, which is just a matter of, if you want to get out, it's just a bit of illusion work, which makes sense with Jackpot. For the underwater box trick, the whole box is set up so it's very easy to get out. Once he's nailed shut in, he gets his handcuffs off very easily, the box is thrown in, and the whole purpose to get out is finding the hidden panel on the side of the box, which can easily let Houdini out, and then he just bobs up into the water. It would just be how much he wanted to suspend people and how he wanted to do this. For the Chinese water torture cell trick, really, the way to get out of it is that the mechanisms to restrain your feet are released the second a curtain is drawn. Once he gets out and the stocks are set back in, he gets out of the tank, hides away looking like he's damp and confused, and then all of a sudden, when the curtains draw back and the rigs are set in place, it looks like he just magically disappeared out of it. These illusions are fun little games to have, and to be honest, to somebody who's already on high anxiety, I can get why Rainbow would be freaked out. I would be freaked out! But the only reason I'm a little iffy with the Grannies doing this is that they are Grannies. Houdini was a capable young man who could basically do a lot of athletic stunts. This is something that requires a lot of athletic work. Why are you letting Grannies do this? Again, we'll chalk it up to the fact that they're entertainers and they want to do this, but man, what the frick were you all thinking? Rainbow, after ruining the stunt and chasing off the illusionist, gets an earful when the Grannies say that she's just a dull, plain pony who couldn't have fun to save her life. She then confesses that it was all AJ's fault who gave her the list, and the Grannies seem to be like, oh no, it's AJ, but all I'm thinking is, why are you throwing AJ under the bus? It's not exactly fair to say this is all AJ's fault when AJ probably either has never been on one of these trips and is just using her own personal experience with Granny and how she is at home on an everyday basis to decide how exactly she should tell Rainbow to take care of them. And at the same time, when you are with elderly people, you have to be more cautious. Even if they want to go running on a bull, or even if they want to go bucking bronco, there are some things you have to be careful with at your age, and sometimes we get a little bit ahead of ourselves. So, do I blame AJ? No. Do I think it was a pretty bad move that Rainbow threw under the bus? Yes. But it was a pretty good move to see that because of their influences on the casino and because they are golden horseshoe gals, they get Rainbow into the roller coaster, they have fun, they welcome her into the golden horseshoe gals, and great and powerful AJ winks us off. So that was Grannies Gone Wild. And as much as I may not like how the fans have been getting upset at AJ, I actually like this episode. Now, it's not memorable, it's kind of like a good meal. Not a fantastic meal, but something I'd enjoy. We finally get good pacing, interesting setup, nice way the characters play off each other, and of course, a fun way to see the Grannies actually in a better light than just slow and feeble. Now, if I had to put this on the list, I definitely would put it probably above Fake It Till You Make It and The Mod Couple. But again, that opener had so much possibility and so much fun that I still have to put the opener as the top episodes of the whole season so far. Maybe next week will change my mind, maybe not. But if you'll excuse me, I've got another customer who needs my help.
Hello, Guardian.
Hello there, Amyethst Wing. Are you ready for your monthly checkup?
As ready as I'll ever be, Starling. I need to be at my best if I want to keep my horde at its peak.
Of course, we can't have an ex-dragon lord running around not being at his peak, now can we?
Have I ever told you about the time when I beat Dragon Lord Torch at the King of the Horde?
Yes, I'm sure, but I'd like to hear it again while I'm giving you your checkup.
Then this shall be a great story to hear again!
Oh, hold that thought, bud. This has been Silver Starling, hoping your travels are light and your road is safe until we meet again. So, how about we get started?
Now, before we start our story, I should say that I was a Goliath of a dragon, a slayer of all that stood in my way. No dragon would dare go claw to claw with me. I was the terror of the skies.
And if you threw